Hello everybody, this is Carls, your friendly neighborhood violin teacher. Today we're going to cover a bit about how to learn Blow the Man Down. This tune is a very famous American sea shanty. A sea shanty is a song, it's a kind of a weird part of American culture. It's a song that was sung by sailors who are working on the docks loading ships. They have a lot of work to do, their days are long. They have to carry a ton of heavy stuff, so there are like hundreds of these little songs that sailors used to sing and dock workers when they were loading boats, to sail across the Atlantic from the United States to Europe or wherever. So, or wherever I should say. So this particular tune, very famous. It's called "Blow the Man Down," and we're gonna learn it today. There is another video which just has the recording of the piece, and that should be linked pretty close to this one. So in this video, I'm going to just walk you through some points that should make it a little easier to learn. So the first thing is in the recording of this piece, I actually use my fourth finger at the beginning. So I actually play it with my fourth finger. Now you don't have to do that. You can use an open string instead of fourth finger. If you're not familiar with it or comfortable with it, you can use an open E instead. So even though I use fourth finger, as I said in the video, if you want to use fourth finger, that's fine. Or if you want to use the open E string, that's also fine as well. Point number one. Number two is your second finger is busy, and if you don't remember that from last year, a busy second finger means that sometimes it's high, that it's close to third finger. Other times it's low, which means it's close to first finger. Another way to think of it is if you have tapes on your violin, then high means your second finger is on a tape, will be close to third, and low means it's off the tape on the black, for usually how most tapes are put on. This piece also uses the exact same notes as the G scale. It doesn't use all the notes in the G scale, but it uses like a chunk of notes that are the same as notes in the G scale, as a set of the notes in the G scale. So, and of course, as you know in the G scale, your second finger is also busy. Remember that sort of backwards rule? It's high on the low two strings, and on the lower two strings, your second finger is high, and on the higher two strings, your second finger is low. And since this piece crosses that sort of middle line, you spend time on the A string, and the E string, and the D string. So you cover three of the four strings. Low second finger, low second finger, high second finger, low second finger. I'll do that one more time so you can see how busy second finger gets. Low second finger, low, high, low. So we've covered two things now. One, you can use open E instead of fourth finger if you want. Number two is your second finger is busy. Number three is this little tricky rhythm that happens at the end of the first line of music and at the end of the second line. Actually, it happens at the end of every line of music in this piece, and it's the blow the man down rhythm, the blow the man down rhythm. Right here, blow the man down. If we slow it down, I'll do it again very slowly. Blow the man down. So that's how it happens that's what that rhythm sounds like at the end of the first line. At the end of the second line, it's the same rhythm, blow, blow the man down, blow the man down, but it's a different set of notes. Blow the man down. So I'll play this again, and I'll stop before each one so you can really hear how it works. Right here, and then the next line. Again, blow the man down. So that rhythm can be a little bit tricky. So again, quick review. Number one, open E string instead of fourth finger is fine. Number two, your second finger is busy. Number three, blow the man down. That rhythm can be a little tricky. Number four is at the end of the first line of music and at the end of the third line, you have these little V's over two of the notes. The V-looking shape means up bow. I know that's a little weird. I think we have covered the notation for writing up bows and down bows, but it may have been, we may have never done it, or it may have just been a very long time ago. So the little V symbol means up bow right there. And I know it's really confusing because it definitely looks like an arrow pointing down. I totally get that. But it's not. But the idea is that it's not. It's actually a picture that's been changed over time. So it's not a symbol. It didn't arise as like a letter or like an arrow. It arose out of. This doesn't even help. But it actually came from a really old drawing of the point of a bow. Our bows now don't meet. The horsehair and the stick don't meet. But way back in the day, they did. The wooden stick would actually curve down toward the horsehair as a curve, not like the sort of square thing we have right here. So they used this sort of very crude drawing of the tip of a bow, like this, to indicate you should sort of be heading that direction. It's a little strange. Anyway, the two V-shaped things mean up bow. So this is the end of the first line. So again, this is the blow the man down, and the down is the first of those two up bows. Blow the man down, like that. So, and to really confuse you too, is your bow is actually moving up on the word down. Blow the man down. On that word, your bow is actually moving up. Sorry, it just happens to be that way. Blow the man down. I guess you could change the words to blow the man up, but that, again, it gets really weird with the words. Blow the man down, by the way, refers to like just, a crazy gale, a gale is a word for a very heavy high wind that you get in a storm. It's not like a hurricane, but like a very powerful wind. So it's like, blowing the guy over. But I suppose if it helps you, you can think of blow the man up to keep your bow up. Right? Anyway, so those are what the V's are. So those are the four things. You may notice too that there was something else I wanted to draw your attention to. It's escaping me at the moment. It'll come back to me. But I want you to notice that in your music, the first line of music starts with this, says one, the word one in a little box. And then the third line of music says two in a little box. I want to draw your attention to the fact that these two these two lines of music, box one and box two, they look kind of different on the page, but they're meant to sound exactly the same. If you notice the first one at box one, it says there's a time signature there. It says 6/4. We just call it 6/4. And then in box two, if you look down at the third line, box two says 6/8 or 6/8. Those two notations are interchangeable, 6/4 or 6/8. The reason why I'm doing this is to show you that actually most of the time, if you're going to write something that has 6 beats in it, like this song, you usually don't use quarter notes. In other words, the box one idea, the first two lines of the song, are not usually how this piece is written. It's really box number 2. It's the last 2 lines of the song are usually how this piece is written. And a lot of pieces that are sort of faster are written in this, we call it 6/8. So that's the Irish Washerwoman, if you've heard of that fiddle tune. Anyway, that's another one of those pieces that's in 6/8. So one of the points of one of the reasons of learning this piece is to see how, is to introduce you all to what's called compound notation, or often 6/8 notation. But I figure we could start off by seeing something you guys have seen before, which is 6/4. And I know it's gonna be kind of weird, but all you really need to know is that once you can play the box 1 version, those 2 lines, to play the box 2 version, the last 2 lines, you do the exact same thing. You don't have to change anything. And I know you may be wondering why we even bother, and that's a long story. That's not something, but there's a long story which we're not gonna cover today. But at some point, I hope I'll be able to answer that for you. I do feel like I'm missing something. I went over everything in my head to try to catch, but I don't remember what that last point is. So, oh well, I think this will give you, oh yes, now I remember what it was. Yes, I remember what it was. I've gone over sort of the whole piece about things to watch. If you feel overwhelmed, which you might, I totally understand, don't try to play the entire piece. Remember, the entire piece is not all 4 lines. The entire piece is actually only 2 lines. Don't try to learn the whole piece at once. Try to learn maybe the first line, or if the first line is too much, try learning half of the first line. And if that's too much, try learning a quarter of the first line. That's okay. Just bite off as much as you can chew. That's totally fine. All right.